Well, every group ride, you got the one guy who can't get his Bluetooth going, right? Just kidding. Just kidding. It's all good. If you're going on a ride and you're getting all pissed off and throwing a fit, well, guess what? Maybe you shouldn't be riding that day. That's what I say. Plus, I never try to talk too much, because the minute you start talking, guess what? Now your bike don't start. Now you're that guy. And that's embarrassing.
Yeah, damn it, Bobby.
Good morning, everybody. It's Clutch here from Zodiac Motorcycle Blog. In the window there's Radar, enjoying the nice sunny day. Wishes he was outside, but he's an indoor cat, so he stays inside. He'd be good. Ah, silly cat. Anyways, what are we doing today? First of all, it is March 20th, 2022. What are we talking about today? Well, today we're on another Rider's Manual Common Task series. And the subject of today's common task is, well, how successfully ride in and lead a group ride. Now, group riding's a little different. And the reason the importance of this is, well, you could very well find yourself in a group ride eventually. And things are a little bit different when you get in a group. And like I said, this is a hybrid. I'm doing it being in a group and also leading a group, because there are chances where you may lead a group and you don't realize you're going to until you're there doing it. Or you might meet up and you might get in that situation where, well, I don't want to lead. Do you want to lead? I don't want to lead. I don't want to lead. So you say, hell with it, I'll lead. Well, that's why I'm going to show you kind of what to do as a leader too. So, first thing, with any group ride, a simple common courtesy is you show up there and you fill up. So like wherever you meet up, actually a lot of times we'll meet up at a gas station is where we meet up for our group rides with our club. And part of that is so you can fill up, or we're nearby a gas station. Basically, fill up the closest gas station to where you're meeting before you go. That's common courtesy number one. You don't want to be that guy who we get 10 miles down the road and I need fuel. And it seems like there's one in every single ride. But here's the thing, don't be that guy. Just don't be that guy, okay? It's not, I mean, just put some damn fuel in your bike. Even if you just topped off 20 miles away, you know what? Do it again. Or, like I said, plan your fuel so you don't have to top off 20 miles away. Either way, make sure your tank is full before you start. That's rule number one. Now, let's say you are in charge of leading the ride. Okay, well, first thing, you as a leader, think of a route, okay? Think of a place to go. Part of the reason that you've been put in that role is to kind of pick the route and go. And so it's on you. Figure out a route. You know, when you're planning a route, think about little things like what time of day are you going? Is it lunchtime? Whatever. A meeting spot, a good meeting spot. Kind of have an understanding of what everybody's capabilities are for distance riding. So that way you kind of plan for the fuel stops. Because there's lots of differences between bikes. ultra limited, street glides, stuff like that, you know, now you may be able to go 250, 260 miles. But you may have Harley Sportsters in your group, which they might be able to go 100 miles, if that. So you kind of got to think about that too. If at all possible, kind of recon the route beforehand, or have been traveled down the route before. Part of the reason I'm the ride captain, the ride leader today is because, well, our other ride captain's out today. And I was ride captain last year, plus of our club. I would say I probably know the Black Hills roads probably better than most anyone here. Because I probably got, I got damn near 2 decades worth of experience riding up and down the hills and the roads in the Black Hills. So they asked me at the meeting the other night, do you have a run? And it's like, oh yeah, I have a run for everything around here. So kind of been on, and I've been on it numerous times. You know, I know all the little quirks of it. So this is for the leader and everybody in it, but show up on time. Many times, especially those who are experienced, you'll see the 3 letters KSU. KSU stands for kickstands up, meaning that's when the kickstands are up and you're going. So if you see a posting and it says, or if it's a ride and they say, hey, kickstands up 11:30, guess what? At 11:30, you're turning your engine over, you're popping that kickstand up and you're going. Meaning 11:30 KSU does not mean show up at 11:30, not fueled up and not ready to go. Show up early. Honestly, I would suggest, especially if you're first time there, honestly, I would show up ridiculous early. Plus, the nice thing, you show up early, you get a chance to chit chat with everyone, and really, that's kind of the reasoning right there. Is you know, especially if you got acquaintances that haven't seen each other for a bit. Yeah, that's, you know, get there early so you can do your chit chatting. Because once you get going, it's probably gonna be hard to do that unless you're wearing communication devices. If you're in the group, be a good follower. And what I mean by that is let the road captain do his thing, all right? Inform him of safety issues, whatever issues you got with your bike, but for the most part, you know, the road captain says go this way, go that way. I mean, that's kind of how it is. Because I mean, stay with the group, you know, stay in the group. Don't kind of do your own thing. Don't be brain dead and lost and doing your own thing. Because let me tell you, when you're leading the group and you got the one guy who decides, you know what, I'm gonna fall back a mile and a half because I feel like it, because I'm just gonna be lazy and not pay attention, and it's really annoying. So stay in the group, stay in the right formation. Don't be stupid, don't do stupid crap. Because here's the thing, when you're leading a group, I think you're kind of in charge of everybody. So really, you're kind of taking charge for that group. So their safety somewhat depends on you. And part of that is obviously you want to make sure everybody's staying with the group or whatever. Another part of that is make sure your bike is mechanically sound. I mean, if your bike has a tendency to break down every 10 miles, maybe a group ride isn't for you. Or if you're feeling lucky that day, you know what? Get towards the back. Maybe alert one of the tail gunners to that, hey, you know, my bike's probably gonna break down. So just to let you know, they'd appreciate it. when you are a leader, always designate a tail gunner or two. Now, a tail gunner, essentially what a tail gunner does is they're kind of, they sit at the back. They kind of watch for stuff coming up in the formation. Also, they'll do things like, let's say someone breaks down and pulls off the rope. They'll stay with them while the rest of the group carries on. So it's a good idea to have at least maybe one tail gunner, especially if you're like a group of 4 or 5. I'd say at least have one. And honestly, plus this one tail gunner should have a good idea of the route, should know pretty much where you're going. So that way, let's say there is an issue. Let's say someone does break down, but it was a simple fix and they're back going again. You know what? Them and the tail gunner can come catch up to you wherever you're going to meet up at. Also, if you're a leader, make sure and tell everybody where you're going. So that way, once again, they get split up. They kind of know where they're going. All right, well, we're just about to the gas station, so we'll see you there. All right, well, first thing I'll do when I'm going to a meetup like this, I get to the location. Obviously, since it's a gas station, first thing we're gonna do is gonna fuel up, but I'm also kind of just looking to see if anybody's here yet, which they're not, so don't be afraid to go introduce yourself. Like I said, make sure you top off. Please top off. Because like I said, that's pretty embarrassing. Other thing you want to do as a ride leader, make sure you got some kind of a brief. Basically cover where you're going. Who's leading, who's the tail gunners, go over some basic hand signals, identify if you got any new riders there, so that way you can find someone to kind of team them up with, and basically you go, you know, that's pretty much it. Now, I know this is riveting watching me fuel up a bike, so yeah, I'm gonna leave you now, and we'll probably join up on once we get to the ride. Alrighty, well, now we're off and running. So once again, when you're leading a group ride, kind of keep an eye out for everybody in the back. So today's ride, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. So, and I like to keep it about, I figure 6 is about the many people if you want to have. I mean, if you've got a big group of like 12, it'd be better off to split them off into 2 different groups, because it's a lot easier to manage about 6 people. Because 6 to 7 is about as many as you want to go with. Because otherwise, you know, it gets hard to keep everyone together. One thing, when you're going through town, try to make absolutely sure that everybody knows how your route out of town. So that way you don't have people rushing through lights or anything crazy like that. And then, like for today's ride, we're going to get out of town, and I've already designated a spot where we're going to probably stop and regroup if we get separated. But you as the ride leader, you can do some of that too. Like, if you see a green light and it's been green for quite a while, you know what? Slow down a little bit and anticipate that thing turning yellow on you. Because there are things you can do as a leader too to keep the group together. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, it's kind of all about just having a good time and enjoying it. Now, actually, today's ride, we've actually got 3. Half of our group is brand new riders. So, and if you got new riders coming in, man, be welcoming to them. Because your group will die if you don't recruit anybody. If you're holier than thou and, you know, won't let anybody join you. Well, guess what? Eventually, people are going to quit coming, and people will start leaving, and now you're sitting there without a group, and that really sucks. Otherwise, it's a matter of just sitting back and enjoying the ride and having a fun day. Alright, so when you're leading your ride, and I don't know if you can see the group back there, but you get on roads like this, it's pretty easy to stay together, really. I mean, I can count 6 bikes back there, which is what we're supposed to be. You're just out here on the road. So if you're in a group passing on a 2-lane, here's the important way to do it. So basically, you as the leader, you're going to get around said vehicle, and you're basically just going to hold speed. Basically, you're going to hold them at your speed, so that way the car doesn't speed up, because cars have a tendency to speed up on you. So you'll sit there on the inside, or you'll sit there on the outside in lane position 1. You'll sit there, and basically your group will come around you, and they'll pop all the way over in lane position 2. Once every person is passed, then you will go by, you will use lane position 1 to get back up front. Everybody resumes their normal staggered formation, and you move on. So that's the way to do it on 2-lane. On freeways, it's not near as, especially open interstates, it's not near as big deal. It's basically everybody get over, get around. You get in big traffic, what you would want to happen is have your tail gunner at the end get over in the lane, seal off the lane so you can get in and out of it. That's kind of how you want to do that. But we were able to get through town all right. We had one light that changed right before another one was about to change, and I actually slowed up to make sure everybody made it, which sure enough the light turned yellow on us, and I was able to keep everybody together. Yeah, I was about probably you know, in a 45 zone I was doing about 25, but honestly there was no one behind us, and frankly it was kind of the right thing to do there. And like I said, kept everybody together and saved us having to stop at the edge of town because we got split up. So that's where you as the leader of the riding, or of the group, has a big influence on, you know, kind of keeping everybody together. So use that wisely. Like I said, remember, you're in charge of a group now, so a little bit more responsibility. Alright, so few other things for group riding. I don't know if I discussed this already, but your formations you ride. Your standard basic formation is called staggered formation. Essentially, you have one bike up front, in lane position 1, behind them about a second, and over in lane position 3 you'll have another bike, and then in the third bike behind, second behind in lane position 1 again, and they stagger, right? That's where you get the term staggered formation. The other formation you go to is single file. That's preferable for like when you're going through, like, you know, mountain roads, tight turns, stuff like that. It's sometimes better just to go into single file and let it be. Now another formation out there is basically a side-by-side, or some would call it motorman. I've heard it called motorman before. And essentially everybody is side-by-side. Now you'll see us a lot, especially with like the 1%er MCs. A lot of them will ride like that. And frankly, you know, some states I think you can't ride that way, but for the most part, you know what, if you're in a good group and you guys ride well together and you want to ride motorman, go for it. I don't think you're gonna die because you're riding motorman. I really don't. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it for guys who don't know how to ride in a group, but you know, if you got a good group that's ridden together for a long time, hell yeah, f it, run motorman, you know. But those are the 3 basic formations you'll find. Although 90% of the time I would just ride staggered. That's probably the best. And frankly, and also when you're in staggered formation, make sure you're following through with your spot. If a gap does form, you know what, fill the gap in. Don't have these big open gaps, because in the end, that formation, part of your strength with you being tiny vehicles is you get in a stagger formation for kind of your protection as well. Keep the group together, that way it's, you know, the tighter your group, the less likely it is people try to get into it, because that does happen. If you don't stay with them, people will cut into it. If there's a little bit of a gap, they will take it. So make sure you keep that formation tight. And sometimes you as the group leader, you may have to just slow down just to keep that up. But, you know, be mindful of, there's some people that just will not ride tight. They just, for whatever reason, just will not do it. If you got someone like that, maybe tell them, hey, what's going on? You know, maybe get them to figure it out. For the most part, though, you're not going to get much help from them, because they're going to say, I am riding tight, and, you know, you do have those people you got to deal with who you can't tell them anything. Probably the same people that have never done any slow speed skills, because, you know, they don't need them in the parking lot. They don't need parking lot skills on the road, but they've never made a legit U-turn in their life. They duck walk everywhere, and you know the type. So anyways, we'll talk to you more in a bit. Well, welcome to the Badlands, everybody. Now, when you're in a group and you're going to stop somewhere to pay a fee, like if you got to pay for like a toll road or national park entrance, something like that, best practice is to have one person, usually it's your, I think if I remember right, usually it's your sergeant of arms, gathers money for everybody, they pay the toll for everyone, and then the whole group carries on. That way it's kind of slow, keeps the process a little quicker. Everybody can get through a little better. But, well, boys, or, well, everyone, there you have it. Riding in the group. It's not a hard thing to do. You know, honestly, if you got a good group to ride with, there's nothing intimidating with it at all. So like I said, don't let it intimidate you. Just follow those tips I gave you, and if you're leading it, just follow the same tips that I gave you. Biggest thing is just make sure you stay together as a group. You're communicating with each other, you're all riding safe, and you're all kind of on the same page as what you're doing. But anyways, as the sun's starting to go behind the clouds here in western South Dakota, and what looks like the front that's supposed to come through tonight and make the high temperatures tomorrow barely get out of the 30s, we're going to bid you adieu for now. Once again, I'd like to thank you for stopping by the Sodak Motorcycle Blog. I am Clutch. Make sure you are following the channel, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can get notified new videos. We always have new videos come out every Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time. So check that out, and if you like the video, hit the like button, and if you want to share it, go ahead and share it with everybody. So anyways, this is Clutch. Have a nice day.